Hi guys, so today I'm going to be making this baked ziti that I made for my kids real quick the other day. It is a one pot style type of meal. So we're going to section off the ground beef that I'm using. You can use any ground beef that you prefer. This is 70/30, and I usually section off these logs like this in three because I don't need to cook all of this meat in one day. It's three different meals right here, okay? So the other sections I will put away in the freezer. All right, so I'm using about 1 pound of ground beef for this recipe, and I'm just using a wooden spoon to kind of crush it up, get it broken apart from its log form. And I'm going to season it in pan. All right, so I'm going to start off with my black pepper. I'm going to add about a half a teaspoon. I don't really measure seasonings when I cook, but to 1 pound of ground beef, I will add about a half a teaspoon, about 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, about 1 teaspoon of onion powder, and about a half a teaspoon of paprika powder. This is optional if you don't like paprika. I like paprika. And about half a teaspoon of fennel seed. Measuring in measuring spoons is just too time consuming, and that's just not how I was taught how to season flavor my food. Okay, but I'm just giving you average measuring so that you can kind of get an idea of how much I'm using. Okay, all right, and then I'm adding in about a half a teaspoon of pink Himalayan sea salt, and I'm gonna go ahead and mix that in together. And this may not seem like a lot of meat or ground beef to some people. I've seen like some people make big city with 3 to 4 pounds of ground beef, and it's only for like three people. Like who? What are you doing with the rest? Because I know there's a lot more. Like that's just too much, but that's just my opinion. All right, now I'm gonna cut up a half of a medium-sized red onion and 2 sticks of celery. And while I'm cutting this up, I'm gonna go ahead and put my water. After I'm done cutting this up, I'm gonna go ahead and put my water on the stove to start boiling for my ziti noodles. As for garlic, use as much garlic as you like. In this house, we love our garlic. I grew a lot of garlic, enough to last me until next year. For those of you guys who are interested in growing food and gardening and all of that stuff, you can definitely check out my Life with Queenie page where I garden and grow food. I'm also on Instagram showing people how to grow their own food and all of that good stuff. So I use 6 cloves of garlic, and here you can see I'm just salting my water for the pasta. And I have my ground beef at this point on low. Once it starts to brown and there's no more pink, I will lower the heat, and then I will add in my onion, garlic, and celery and mix that in together. And let the onion, garlic, and celery soften up as it cooks, and keep it on low. So after you've browned the ground beef, you don't want to like burn it. You want to lower it while you're cutting up your stuff, okay? Then I'm gonna add in 3 tomatoes diced up. I'm just gonna mix that in. And then I'm gonna add in about a tablespoon, a little bit more than a tablespoon worth of tomato paste. Tomato paste is basically concentrated tomato. In 1 tablespoon of tomato paste, there's probably about 10 tomatoes altogether. It's very concentrated tomato. Then we're going to add in our bell peppers. If you don't like bell peppers, you don't have to add them. I'm using 1 whole green bell pepper and half of a red bell pepper. Okay, you can remove the seeds and dice them up as big or as small as you like. We like them kind of big here, so I do them about maybe a ½ inch to a 1 inch size chunk and add them into the meat mixture. And at this point, the temperature or the flame is at a low, medium low. Okay, I'm just gonna mix this in. And once we get that mixed in, we're gonna go in with our sauce. You can use jarred marinara sauce, you can make it yourself. If you're a gardener, you have it canned, go ahead and use your canned sauce. And then I'm going to add in almost all of the jar except for about 1/4 cup, which I'm gonna save for later, or a half cup, which I'll save for later. I'm gonna add in dry oregano, Italian seasoning, and I'm also going to add in some fresh ground black pepper as well. And we're going to mix this all in. I'm also going to add in some beef bouillon powder, about 1 teaspoon to 1.5 teaspoons. Add 1 teaspoon first, see how you like it, and then add a half if you need more flavor. And also a half cup of water. The beef bouillon is basically powdered beef broth or beef stock, and adding the water adds more moisture and liquid to the sauce. This is actually dried celery that I grew in my garden. You can use parsley instead if you don't have celery, or use fresh celery leaves. My kids like the taste of vegetables and celery. They're not offended by any of these things, so it goes in there. Okay, now I'm gonna go ahead and boil my ziti noodles, and it takes about 8 to 10 minutes. I did it for 10 minutes. I'm going to strain them. And then now that our sauce is done, once you add in the celery or your parsley, your sauce should be done. It depends on you as far as the peppers go. We don't like our bell peppers overcooked, so I leave them on the al dente side as the cooking process goes in the sauce. But if you like them softer, you can cook your sauce for a little bit longer on low so they could get softer. But this cooks more once it gets into the oven. So I'm gonna add in my ziti noodles and mix it in a little bit at a time to make sure every corner gets sauce and is evenly distributed, throughout the pot. And if I didn't mention it before, make sure you're doing this in a pot that is oven safe, because this whole pot is going into the oven, okay? Don't do this in a pot that has plastic handles or wood handles or anything like that. Make sure it's oven safe. It's completely metal, aluminum, stainless steel, any of those materials, so it could go in the oven. All right, so I'm going to make like little wells, like little holes in the pasta, and add in my extra sharp cheddar cheese, because I'm not going to, take out a bunch of it and like layer it. So I'm making these extra wells. I'm making these little wells and adding in the cheddar cheese in them. And once it melts, it's going to disperse throughout. It doesn't look like it, but it will. Just trust me here. Okay. All right. And this way, you're not overusing too much cheese. Like, yes, we all love cheese. Just you don't have to use too much, a whole packet of cheese. There should be some cheese left in that packet for another meal or something else you want to make later on. Every meal doesn't have to be, I have to use the whole packet of cheese. I have to use, no, like that's just not, I don't know. That's not sustainable. Okay, not for an everyday family. Okay, I have a family of 6, so no, one packet of cheese needs to be used at least for 3 different meals. Okay, and it's still cheesy. All right, so you see I do the same thing, and I made wells and I added my mozzarella throughout. You can make as many little wells or holes as you like, and here comes the little bit of some sauce that we left over, and I'm just going to put this on top and kind of mush it in or push it into the to the pasta. Okay, it makes a difference because I've done this without adding the sauce on top. It makes a difference. Okay, and I prefer to add a little bit of sauce on top, um, towards the end. Okay, so get as much of it out as you can. I know you're tempted to add some water in there. Don't do it. You're going to make everything bland. Just get it out there, use a spatula, shake it out, whatever you have to do to get it out. So there was about a half cup worth of sauce still left in there. So when you use the sauce in the beginning, leave about a half cup in there. If you don't like a lot of sauce, leave a fourth cup. So now that I have the sauce spreaded and pushed in there, I'm going to add a little bit more cheese on top, a little bit of cheddar, and a little bit of mozzarella on top. It looks like a lot. I promise you it's not. It's just the right amount. And I still have cheese left over for another meal. These are 2 packets of cheese that I got. Okay, and like I said, I need to be able to use them for more than one meal. All right, I'm going to add some parsley on top and some smoked paprika on top, and I'm going to cover this with some foil, and this is going to go into the oven on 425 degrees for 25 minutes. Okay, after the 25 minutes, you're going to take the foil off. You're going to see that the cheese has melted. The cheese needs steam to melt. For those of you who have issues getting the cheese to melt on your pasta, it needs to be covered so that the steam can melt the cheese. You can take it off, let it brown for another 5 minutes if you like. That's completely up to you. I'm going to cut up some parsley and add that to the top of the big ziti, just to add some more freshness on top. And parsley does have a taste and a smell, and I like how it looks as well. All right, and it's actually good for you. All right, well, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Hope it was super simple to understand, and I'll see you very soon in another video. Bye, guys.